Interesting. All right, let's take a look. And then I sent you a form also for the open house. And Daphne King's name is not on the open house form. Sign up. Sign up. We need people from health. We need people from business. There's currently 6 people from business and 0 from crime. So go back to the chat and say, you elected me as tribute to be the PAC member. Now I would like to you to be in the open house. Open house is a lot of fun. You can meet prospective students. They're giving away $100 gift cards and other prizes. I got a sweater and a hat and some glasses and other stuff out of it. I highly recommend sign up. It's also good. And like I said, I sent you in the email, put your name on the what's it called, the co-curricular record, and you could send it to Jason or I, and we'll approve all the activities that you volunteer for. It gets included on your transcript. I also sent you an email about the Board of Governors. They have a student that works with the Board of Governors that basically runs the college and decides all the major decisions about what programs to have and stuff like that. You could see the inner workings of the college and really see how it happens at the top level. Highly recommended. Sign up. And like Daphne King will tell you, you have to get somebody to sponsor you. So basically, you get your friend to sign the form, send it in on your behalf, you're good to go, right? Exactly how Daphne King ended up as a PAC member. Make sense? We're on the same page? Sign up. You could end up running the place. You'll be my boss's 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 boss. It's a good idea. Exactly. Gokashay says, sign me up now. I'm good to go. All right. Gokashay, I don't know how to fly a helicopter yet, but I'm willing to learn. You know? I don't know if that's what it takes, but we'll make it happen. What else is going on? I posted a really cool link on LinkedIn yesterday about creating graphical user interfaces in Python, and we're going to pick that up in a few weeks, and we'll take a look at it. Next week, we have an alumni panel of students that graduated from the program that are working in industry, and they're going to come back and tell you about their experience and how it worked and so on. And we'll talk about, how they connected the courses, and it is possible to graduate. I think is the really big takeaway. So don't worry about it if you're struggling. Everybody struggles. It's normal. Then the next week, we're having a talk from Gus Miner. Gus Miner is the CEO of a tech company in Sudbury. I think they currently have 10 of our students, graduates, alumni that are working there. If I'm not mistaken, I think they hired 5 the first year and 5 the second year. And they're very involved with the program. In fact, they have a scholarship that you could apply for that's in my Cambrian. So I highly recommend, if you haven't done it yet, apply for bursaries and scholarships. It's free money. There's literally no reason why you can't take an hour and fill it out, and they'll give you free money. And if you're Ray, you could take that free money and you could buy chicken with it. You could put a down payment on a monster truck. You could even buy cookies with it. So I highly recommend get the free money, use it. They're giving it to you. You only reason why you're going to get it is by applying for it, right? If you don't apply for it, they're not going to give it to you. Jason is going to tell you something that Wayne Gretzky said here.
You don't remember the quote? I feel like I've given you the quote many times.
You have, but I feel like I'm going to get it wrong, and that's going to be embarrassing for both of us.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Famous hockey quote.
Then 2 weeks after that, on October 29th, we have Jason King, who's an epidemiologist from public health, and he's a professor in health analytics, and he's going to come talk about health analytics. We're in a major pandemic that's all about numbers, right? From the beginning of the pandemic, numbers every single day. This is the perfect time to talk about it. So we're going to look at, he's going to come and talk about some of the numbers around the pandemic. Then on November 5th, we're going to talk about this GUI thing. You should know enough Python by then to talk about how to make user interfaces. I sent you an email yesterday. I made a wanted poster for my cat. She did not appreciate it, but I thought it was hilarious. So I'll teach you how to put together graphical user interfaces. This is not a good idea, right? It's not, Python is not meant to run user interfaces, but it could be fun. It could be interesting. For some use cases, it could be a good idea. Oh, I wish I had the picture from JP, but I got rid of it. It was on my desktop in a place of prominence last semester, but then I cleaned up my desktop. Anyway, JP made an amazing game that had my face in the game. So, just another example of what you're able to use. Wonder what I did with it. Another example of what you're able to use Python for. No, I don't know what I did with it. It was funny. Okay, so today we're going to talk about building no-code apps. What's the point? Why are we doing this? Basically, it's really simple. if you build an app with code, you have three different options. You could build an app with an Apple iOS code base. You could build an app with an Android code base. You could build a web app, like a web page that sits in your phone. It looks like an app, but it's running on the web. Or you could build a combination of all these things. And it can be really, really tough to maintain an app. Not only is it hard to program it, like to take all the information and put it together to make the app show up, it's really hard to keep on updating it. And phones constantly change. So like the features of the phone change, the programming, the code in the phone changes, and your code, every time they update iOS or Android, you have to update your code as well. So it becomes a full-time job to update it. Instead of using two totally separate code bases, which is what some companies do, you could use technologies like Kotlin, you could use technologies like Flutter from Google to build apps with one code base that work for both. So it creates native apps on both platforms, even though you have one code base. It's okay, it works, but some features aren't accessible. Some special iPhone features, some special Android features have to be customized to make them look a little different. But as you can imagine, it's expensive. We're talking about like thousands of dollars to build an app, literally. It's complicated, and it will guarantee it stop working at some point in the near future. And you'll have to keep on fixing it to make sure it works. And nobody likes getting calls at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, oh, the app is off, we can't get customer orders, fix it, right? Which is basically what's going to happen if you don't constantly call a person back. One of the things that we do a lot as data analysts is build front ends, build dashboards, build pieces that people can connect with. Maybe you have a system in Python or in Power BI or something else, and you want to export that to an app. Power BI, by the way, builds its own apps, but they're very expensive. They cost like $15. They're not really meant for customers. They're meant for like business owners to analyze data. So what if you want to make like a simple informational app for your customers? You don't want to spend a lot of money and you want to get it done in like less than an hour. It's totally possible to do with no code apps. There's many different options. There's sites like Bubble, there's sites like whatever. And today we're going to use one called, somebody help me here. I forgot what it's called.
Glide.
Glide, thank you. So today we're going to use one called Glide. And Glide is building apps. It's super simple. We're going to build it together. You'll get the idea. Once you know how to do this, you could plug in your own data coming from a database. You could use JSON from Python. You could connect R or SQL as part of the program. And basically anywhere you could take data, you could bring data into your system and out of your system in an app that we make in 20 minutes. So what should we make the app about? That's always the most interesting thing. Last year that we made this app, we did it on Sudbury, right? We made an app all about Sudbury. Maybe we can make something different. How about all about the program? So you're like a new student in the program, and this will tell you everything you have to know. Right, like a guide to analytics. What do you think? You could disagree with this idea and you could come up with a better one. We can make an app all about Daphne King or JP, whatever you like. I have enough content to make an app all about Ray. It's completely up to you. Mainly monster truck themed, but you know, cookies too, and chicken.
I missed a little bit.
I was saying, what do you want to make the app about? My initial proposal was we make the app about the program. Last time we made an app about the city of Sudbury and what attractions there are to see. We can make an app about you or JP or Daphne King. It's really up to you.
JP will be great because he's taking over the world with his coding. So I'm sure there's plenty to, you know.
I have to say that I'm very impressed with your coding and Pat's coding this week. So.
Well, no, I can't take credit for that. Especially if Pat is here. If Pat's not here, I'll say it's all my work.
No, I'm not saying Pat's code wasn't better. I'm just saying you both impressed me. Obviously, Pat's is better. That was left unsaid. Anyway, what's the story? What would you like to make the app about? I'm here waiting for your suggestions.
Well, can we do one for Cambrian College?
Cambrian College. Interesting. What do you want to do it about?
Well, I'm thinking on the lines of something similar to what you can see on the website, but a little bit easier to navigate, similar to other Glide apps we've done. Just
I like
because a lot of us have not even been onto campus before, so I don't know how to get there. I just walk around. I don't know where the entrance is.
It's incredibly complicated. For the first year that I was at Cambrian, I had security take me everywhere because I constantly got lost. And I got lost in the weirdest places and I could never find my way anywhere. I do know, and I won't tell you how I know, but I do know that it takes less than 1 minute to walk from my office to Jason's office. And we have timed this multiple times, literally from the second you hang up the phone until I'm actually at his door, how many seconds it takes. Depends on traffic, but usually it's pretty speedy. So that I do know how to get to. But besides that, listen, the advantage of being online is that you're always able to get to your class really quickly and you never have to run across campus in 15 minutes to get there. So huge advantage. Plus, you can have a bad hair day and then nobody even sees you. Just do this passive aggressive video off business and it's no problem. JP feels terrible now. So Sonam says we should make an app for BAPG, but there's people here from HAGC and CAGC. We'll make an app. I don't know. We can make an app about both.
You mentioned open house. We can do one that's related to open house, I guess.
Open house. All right. What do you want to do about open house? We could do an app about programs at the college.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right? Let's do it. It should be interesting. All right. So let's get started. And by the way, all of you people who are sitting here, and I'm talking to Sharon, Daphne King, everybody, all these people, their faces there. Idris, I expect you to participate. That's the whole point. All right. So let's get started over here. And we're going to go into here. And I have Glide open, but we don't need that right now. I'm going to set up a new Google Docs. And I'm going to go to Google Docs and we're going to go into spreadsheets. And I'm going to start a new spreadsheet. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this spreadsheet a name based on what we want to call the app, right? That's what it's going to be called in our directory. So we're going to call it, I think we said Open House, right?
You said about the courses at Cambrian College?
Courses at Cambrian College? But I mean, how many are we going to do? All of them? We can do business. How about grad certs at Cambrian College?
Oh, yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Okay, and then that's like the name that's going to be in our file directory. We need a short name that's going to be in the app. Like at the top of the app, it's going to say the name. Do you have a short name? Some kind of snappy, Idris, it's easy. You're going to figure it all out. Just don't worry about it. All right, short name. What do you got?
The GCC.
That actually is something else.
Oh, what is it?
The Glenn Crombie Center.
Oh, okay.
Like if I say GCC, that's the first thing I think of. But we were looking for like a fancy marketing name, like,
This is where you have to go to JP.
I got Grad Fund. What do you got, JP?
Random in one.
Cambrian GC. All right. Ryan has the idea to beat. What do you think? Cambrian GC.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Cambrian grad. Until we find a better name, that's what we'll stick with. So we have to think about what are the rows and the columns going to be in our program. We're going to set up a whole bunch of columns to keep the data that we're going to find about the different programs, right? To do this, let's start off by going to cambriancollege.ca. And we're going to click on where it says programs. We'll click on graduate certificates. And we could look at some of the graduate certificates they have. So they have these ones right here, right? You'll notice that the first thing that they have is the school, business and information technology, community services, health sciences, law and justice, safety and environmental studies, right? Those are the schools that they're in. So we're going to go over here. And the first thing we'll do is we'll grab the school and we're going to grab business and information technology. I'm going to go to edit, paste the match style. Okay, we'll put it in like that. Okay, next up, we're going to have the program name, like business analytics. So we're going to call this program name, and we'll put in business analytics. Everybody with me? We're on the same page?
Yeah.
All right. Then we're going to go into business analytics, and we can have the code. The code of the program is BAPG, right? Maybe we'll call this program code, and we're going to call it BAPG, right? Maybe we'll use this part, and we'll call this about, like this. And in this cell, I'm just going to go edit, paste, and match style, and it will drop in this text. I'm going to grab this guy, cut it, and then add it to the end over here. Okay. So we got about, and then mode of study. And then I think they had a sentence in there about you have the flexibility to study online and in class, etc. And we're going to say mode of study will go in there. Okay. And if you go into this link, by the way, where it says view complete program details, it will tell you more about the program. It will tell you what's good about the program highlights, part-time pathway, etc. Right? A lot of people are interested in what do you have to apply for the program, program delivery, program of study, fees, graduate options, etc. Right? Let's keep it simple. We'll just keep the pieces that we have right now. So we have school, program name, program code, about, mode of study. We'll type in image, and we'll find an image of a business analyst. I was going to take a picture of Daphne King, but instead we'll just find a real business analyst. Hold on. Business analyst. This person. This actually kind of looks like Mohammed with the thing, but this is from a different university. So there's a few places we can get free pictures from. One of them is Pixabay, and I'm going to type in analyst, and there we go. We get some kind of spreadsheet program. That looks good. We're going to press free download. You know what? Let's right click on the picture, and we'll go where it says copy image address, and we get just a picture, and then we'll paste that link into the image column. So we got an image. What else? What else could we say about the program? So we got School of Business, Business Analytics, BAPG, what it's about, how you can study. And remember, about is actually a big paragraph, but it's all in one cell, right? And then we got an image. Anything else? You want to put a video? I don't know. I have a lot of videos about business analytics, but I don't have a lot of videos about other programs.
The name of the program coordinator?
Oh, yes. How could I forget such critical information? Martin says, yes, thank you, Martin. Please contact me as much as possible. I really appreciate it. And I know literally all of you have emailed me before, so let's call this contact. And the contact information comes from this page, and it will say Sydney Shapiro on there. And then we're going to go contact email, contact phone, right? So contact email is going to be here, and we'll just paste it in like that. And then contact phone is going to be this, and paste it in like that. Make sense? All right. I just can't wait for people to start calling me. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. You could put in program highlights. We could put in, other things, but I think this gets us started, right? Any questions? Are we on the same page? We're good?
Yeah, good.
Number of semesters. That's a good one. Let's program name, program code. Let's add a column to the left. And we're going to write number of semesters. Maria, what semester are you in?
First semester.
And you're already looking towards the end. Number of
Yeah.
semesters. I mean, it just started. You got to give it a second. All right. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Yes?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Great. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, so that was the easy part. For the next 20 minutes, let's work together to fill the rest of this out. So I'm going to send you the link. Really important, it's okay to skip lines. So it's okay to, let's say like I'm on line 2 here, Daphne goes on line 7, Ray goes on line 10, JP goes on line 15. Just fill it out, but use this information to fill it out. So here's the sheet you could log in. Here are the grad certs. Remember, there's different schools. And then this is the subpage inside of them. So, we're going to have all of these programs under the School of Business, right? And then you can go and find the rest of the information and put them in, right? You could actually click on the link here and then just jump there to see it. Okay, and then I'll start filling in the rest of the schools. So we have, like, let's say the School of Community Services, and we're going to put that in over here. The formatting doesn't matter. So I'll put in the School of Community Services, and we're going to go here, and I'll grab these 3 programs. All right. Just make sure that it's in the same cell. It's okay if it goes over on the side because it will cut it off when you start working on the next one. And we could also just go like this and click on like default size 10, and it will just change it back to normal. So business and information technology we already did, so you don't put that one in there. I'm putting all the ones in. No, project management is already in there. It should be, isn't it? Yeah, it's on line 9. Okay, so then we have health sciences, and there's 3 of those. Okay, and then we'll grab these 3 and put them in here. I'll get rid of this for a second. And then we have law and justice. And there are only 1 of those, that's crime analytics. Okay, I'm going to click up here again, and I'm going to go to Arial default. We'll make it size 10. I could change, oops, sorry, everything to, was not good. Black text, white background, perfect. So we did law and justice. Next, let's go to safety and environmental services here. And we have this one, and that is the last one on our list. All right, so fill it out, grab some data, find the right spot to put it in. I'll fix it again. I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna do size 10. We'll do foreground color is black, background color is white. Okay, looks like we're doing good.
The cybersecurity one.
Perfect. I'll start from the bottom with this environmental monitoring. I'm going to go into here. I'll click on environmental monitoring. Program code is EMPD. So I'll type that in here, EMPD, right? And perfect. Looks good. Okay, looks good. Okay. CAGC, we got that one. BAPG, what about health analytics is HAGC. All right. And cybersecurity is only 2 semesters?
Yeah, 1 year, 2 semesters, it says.
I did not know that.
Is that part of your remit, or is that under someone else's?
Somebody else.
Oh, okay.
How many things do you think I can do? I'm already the coordinator for 2 different programs. My brain is only so large. I have to just, that's somebody else. All right, so how many semesters is this? Program delivery, 3 semesters. So this is the EMPD is 3. Okay, now you notice that it says like this field continues to, I don't know which one this is from, but I assume it's from health or crime. Just cut that cell and then paste it to the end of the cell above, because you copied 2 paragraphs, it came out as 2 lines. Does that make sense? So you have to make sure it only copies in as 1 cell. And maybe to see this better, let's freeze the top row. if we could figure out how to do that in this thing. Freeze. One row. Perfect. So now it's going to be easier when you scroll, you'll be able to see the top stuff. Mode of study, contact, Craig O'Neill. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so basically, keep on filling it out and we'll find some appropriate pictures. I'm going to go to Pixabay. Let's go back here. And we're going to find one for crime analytics. Interesting. Crime analytics. They don't have any free ones, so let's try crime. Very dramatic. Okay, I'm going to right click and go to where it says copy image address. Just paste that URL to make sure it works. And then we'll paste that picture in crime analytics over here. Right? Okay, so make sure that when you paste the image, first try it in the browser and make sure it actually works in the browser. Like it actually works as an image.
Miles Peterson.
Hey, Jason, I know that guy. Okay, so the first stage of any of these projects is figuring out how do we gather the data, right? Putting it all together, data cleaning, making sure that it's in the right cells. Okay, mode of study for supply chain is empty. Then we have image needs an image there, and so on. Perfect, we're making good progress. IT business analysis. All right, so grab the cell, keep on filling it out. Looks like we're making some good progress. Let me know if you have any questions.
And mine is done. I mean, go with this.
Okay, we look like we're doing okay. Okay, so as you go across the fields, everything should be filled out. You should see everything. Actually, there's an easier way to do this. Just hang on a second. I'm going to click on this button up here, and then I'm going to press wrap. And it'll open everything a little bit bigger, so you're able to see it easier. You will have to do some more scrolling, though, and that's why I didn't turn it on like that to begin with. Makes it easier to see like this. But just make sure you go through each cell, and that each cell has something. So, for example, I'm in E4, has something, E5 does not, E6 does not, E7 does not, etc. Right? So, let's see. We have human resources. So let's go into here. We'll type in HR. And here, it's a great picture for HR. I'm going to press on where it says copy image address. We'll go into here. Looks good. We'll paste an image for HR. Who's the contact? We'll have to fill that out. International business management. International business.
I'm just doing that one.
I found the picture here. International business.
Mm.
All right, that looks good. International business. There's the image. IT business analysis. All right, IT. That's a good one. All right.
I think that's that done.
Mobile app.
Roles of study.
All right, so we'll grab something like that. All right. Okay, looks like we're making good progress. Organization management. And we're just doing this app as a practice, right? You don't need to, doesn't have to be perfect. Brian Benjamin. All right, public relations. Let's see what we got here. There we go. Looks good. Okay. Addictions and mental health, applied learning disability studies. What happened? There we go. Okay. Next, we have community health services navigation. All right, so let's go to health. All right, it's kind of random, but let's go with it. Okay, it looks like we're doing fantastic gathering the data. Paramedic, let's do ambulance. Okay.
The mode of study, from where did you pick it up actually?
I found it on the main page. It was the third paragraph on the first page.
Okay. Okay. So I'm looking for the project management actually. So yeah, I will look into that.
It should say it as soon as you click on the page. It should say if it's how they teach the course.
Yes. Yes, I got that.
Let's use this Lego guy. I like it. I think I just did the wrong one. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. And then what's this one for MRI? All right. So basically, finish up the ones that are missing. We have pretty much everything in here. And it looks pretty good. I think we're doing all right. We have pretty much all the information we need. We just need a couple more pictures, it looks like. Oh, this thing is way too big. Okay, hold on.
They all have pictures of it, don't they? On the image, they all have a link there.
What do you say?
All the images one have a link there already. So
I'm
I
just
think-
checking. All right. So we got a link on. No, there's one missing at the bottom.
All right, yeah, that one.
Environmental studies. Everything else has one, looks like. Okay, so we have everybody's email, we have everybody's name, everything's in there. I believe we are good to go, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna click up on top here, and then I'm gonna say, Arial, we'll change everything to 10. We'll make the font black and the background white. So that removes all the formatting. And let's find an environmental picture.
Yeah, I'm just looking for it. So that's for the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
All right, so Ray is pasting it
in. Yeah.
Done? That is not the right picture. If you click on this image, it will bring you to this page, but we want to right click here and go to copy image address and look at the actual image address of the picture itself, not the Google search. So that's why it can't start with Google.
Yes.
Okay?
There you go.
Everything else looks good. All right. You did an awesome job. Let's see what this says. All right. Looks good. Looks good. Everybody did a great job. Congratulations. We're half of the way there. All right. So let me just turn off this sharing. So you can close the spreadsheet now if you have it open. Just close it. You don't need it anymore. This is the page that we have so far. So if you're on here, just close it. That applies to the 4 people who are still logged in. The 3 people who are still logged in, just press the X button on the page. You can do it. Come back to the Zoom. Now there's another person who joined. That was I know that was Pat. The only person who would do that was Pat, obviously. Close the window. Come back here. There's still 3 people logged in.
It wasn't me.
I just blame you by default. It's, All right. So we entered all the data. We had to decide what the columns were going to be, right? And we found all the information to plug it in. And this could be about anything, but you get the idea, right? Next, we're going to turn this into an app. We're going to make it work. So the first thing we're going to do is open a new tab and go to Glide Apps. And we're going to log in, right? Once we log in, it's going to load my 1,000 apps that I already have. I'm going to press Ask a New App, and we're going to call this Cambrian Grad Certificates. Now we could do phone, tablet, desktop. We're going to do phone version. We're going to use Google Sheets, but we could use tables, SQL, Excel. There's a lot of other options of what we could use to make this work. We're going to pick Google Sheets because we just created it there. And then when it loads my Google Sheets, I'm already signed into my Google account. It's going to have grad certs at Cambrian. That was the file that we just created, right? I'm going to press select, and then it's going to import all of our data into this new app, and it's going to build it for us. And hopefully it's going to look amazing. It looks pretty good, right? Now, the first thing is we're going to scroll through here to make sure all the pictures worked. All the pictures worked except for the business and information technology one, cybersecurity. So we're going to go over here. We'll find a link for cybersecurity. And this is the link to the page, not the link to the image. So we'll press copy image address. And this is the picture we want with no page attached to it. So there's no HTML, it's the actual image. And we're just going to go and delete this and change it to that, right? When we go back to our file, we're going to click on the little refresh button. It's going to read the page again, import the new data, update it, and now we're good to go. JP, you can have multiple sheets. You could even have multiple worksheets inside of this one workbook, right? And we're going to look at some examples a little later that do that. Okay, so now we're in the app. There's a few different things that we have to do. Before you do anything else, the most important first step is click on this. It looks like a little spreadsheet, and take a look at the top of each column. It's going to tell you what it imported it as. What data type is it? So it says an A is a string, right? So it's text. 1, 2, 3 is a number. Image is an image, and so on. If it imported it as the wrong thing, it's not going to work, right?
Just that data type, isn't it, basically?
So you have to know what data type it imports as. If it made a mistake, you got to fix it, right? So that's really important because whatever we do next is not going to work unless you have the right pieces in there, okay? I also noticed that we're missing a couple spots that we could fill in, but you get the idea. We also have somebody's phone number instead of their email address, right? Which needs to be fixed. So we go over here and let's see, where was it? We have this person's phone number. So this cell has two things in it. So I'm just going to take this out. And then that puts in their email address and their phone number because it had two things in the cell at the same time. And let's see what else we're missing. David Kilgore.
No, just added an extra line, is it?
Yeah, so it's showing you the blank instead of the. All right, so let's just go here.
What about the extensions? Do we need to fill everything, or we just will it still work without filling everything? Extensions.
It's not perfect. When you do this for a client, you could spend more time making it perfect.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hey, Idris, where'd you get that background from?
From Cambridge College.
Because I'm like, hey, I know where that is. I've been there before. All right. So we're still missing Mel's email address. Let's see why that didn't import. Melanie05. We'll click here. Okay, let's refresh it. We should be good. Perfect.
Hey.
So we got everybody's email addresses. We got all their phone numbers. We could fix this up, but you get the idea, right? Okay, now let's go back to the app. The first decision that we have to make after we make sure all our data is the right type and it's all imported properly is we could do it like tiles. Like you could scroll through the app and pick different programs, like pictures. We could do a calendar if that made sense. We don't have dates, so we can't do a calendar. We could do a map if we had map places, but we don't, so we can't set it to anything. We could do a checklist, like, did you talk to these programs and check them off? We could do cards. We could do swipe, like Tinder, basically. So you could like swipe on the cards back and forth. And you could do details like this. We're going to go with the one that's called cards because it gives you a little bit of information, right? Now, we have the label up on top, right? And then when I press edit, it has the image. So that's coming from the image column. The header is what school is it part of? So it's business and information technology. The title is the program name, business analytics, and the program code is down below. But we could pick any other column that came in as that information, right?
Pick the contact so your name could be right at the top.
Exactly. Try to. Where do we have program code? All right, so it says business and information technology, business analytics, BAPG, and you could scroll down and see like law and justice, crime analytics, CAGC. Make sense? Okay. Now, and there's a lot of options. Like we could change it to have like rounded edges. We could change it to have square edges. We could, change the pictures to look different ways. We could change the font, the text, the sign. There's a million different settings. I'll let you figure that out. But some apps would have a feature where you could add programs. Like, if I send you the app, you could add to it. You could add to the database. There's forms and so on. In this case, it doesn't make sense because people can't add their own programs. So that option is here, but we're not going to do that. Then we have a search bar, so you can search at the top. We could put in a filter or groups or whatever. But I think we're good. So far, we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now from the main menu, we could also add in a chat feature. So we're going to do that, where you could chat. And I noticed that we have Cambrian Grad. We have this icon, and it's like a SIM card. We're going to make it a home icon because that makes more sense. We have Cambrian Grad is the main, and chat is the chat. And when you click on chat, you could type here, you could log in and start chatting with other people on the app. Right? Useful feature. We could also do a shopping cart and have e-commerce items and so on, but that doesn't make sense for our app because we're not selling anything, right? Okay, and then this created user profiles. User profiles will be automatically created. Why? Because we asked him to log in. When you do chat, it's going to ask you for your email address and authenticate. It will automatically save everybody's email who's logged into the app when they authenticated what they wrote. So far, so good? Any questions about anything?
No.
Okay, next, you'll notice on the page that if you press I up at the top over here, that gives you some information about sharing the app and sending it out and so on. You could also, if you're on your phone, send it by email, WhatsApp, Instant Messenger, Facebook, whatever, through that button as well. It's different because I'm on the computer, but that's the idea. You'll see in a second. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click on this icon over here to set up the other pieces before we go on. So we could choose a color for the app. Cambrian has like a kind of like reddish brown color. I don't know what the number for it though is. And we can try to like, Ryan, so this is creating a web app and this is going to work for everything. Right, so I think that's kind of like what Cambrian looks like. They do have a hex code. I could probably just find it. Oh, there you go. It says it on the thing, but they won't tell us the hex code. I don't know. Not important. All right. I think that looks pretty good. So now we have app info. And this is the picture that when it's on your phone, on your desktop, this is what it's going to look like. Idris, Glide Apps is free. So if you look over here, we have 19 lines of data. You could put 500 lines of data for free. So we could build like a super complicated app with multiple pages and it'll be fine with the stuff that we have. You could make it much, much bigger. There are paid versions of the app that do other things and give you more features and so on. We don't need it for the project we're doing today. So I'm going to change this and we could upload a picture or we could pick an icon. Do you have an icon preference? Have something? Let's see what they have for school.
Yeah.
How about one of those? All right.
Yeah, that's good.
So we have this, and then we're going to write. Okay. Information on grad Cambrian College. Okay. Privacy. We don't have a sign in, so anybody can use the app. Unless you chat, you have to sign in. Sharing. Should you be allowed to copy the original sheet that we made and make your own version of the app? Or is it only that you could use it, but you can't copy it? So I'm going to leave it turned off, but you could copy it if you want. Then we have a sign-in screen if we want to make it to be signed in. And you'll notice that there's a lot of features that say like unlock with Pro if you want to do that kind of thing. User agreements, data management, templates, billing, integrations, etc. You can make it work with other things. Last year, we set up a program that worked with JSON. So as you set up data coming from somewhere else, or you have an API, it feeds that information into your app. I think we did cat pictures, if I'm not mistaken, last time, right? Okay, so now that we have it all set up, let's go back to our app. And this is the most important thing. Every piece in the app is identical because they're a similar structure, but we have to set it up one time. So I'm going to click on Business Analytics. This is what it looks like right now. And we have school, program code, number of semesters, about, mode of study, contact email. We could add other features. Like, for example, we could add favorite and then just drag this up like this. So if you click favorite, you now have a section of favorites that you're able to go back to, right? Yeah. We could also change these instead of like to different kinds of text. We could add things like email, relations. If you press the button, it makes a phone call and so on, right? We could create different kinds of media, like you could play a video inside the actual app, and you can move these all around and set it up. You could have entry fields to make a form. You could choose pictures and upload them and have reactions and ratings and charts and a million other things, depending on what you're interested in putting into the page. But now that we have this set up with program code, number of semesters, about, mode of contact, mode of study, contact, and email, right? Every other program will be set up the same way, following the same pattern. And if we move them around, they'll move around as well. So let's say we want to put a line divider up at the top. So I'll click on separator and I'll move the separator up like this. Then that line shows up in every program. Make sense? We're on the same page? All right. All right, so we're done. Fantastic. We're on the same page. Now's the exciting part. Let's put it on our phones. So I'm going to press Publish App. That's the last step in the process. And I'm going to give you a copy of it. I'm going to put this in the chat. You can click on it and you'll see it on your computer. You could also just take your phone, so whether you have Android or iOS, turn it onto your QR code reader or the camera app and point it at the screen, at the QR code. And a link should pop up. Just click on it and it will bring you to a page like this. And this page is going to load. It takes a second. And there you go. It's on my phone. The most important thing you're looking for is down at the bottom in the center. I have a button on my phone that says Add to Home Screen. If you're on Android or if you're on iOS, it's going to look a little bit different. If you're on Android, click on the three dots and then find where it says Add to Home Screen. If you're on iOS, click on the box with the up arrow, scroll down a little bit to where it says Add with Home Screen. It's a box with a plus on it. And then I'm going to press Done, Add. And there you go. I saved it on my home screen. And there, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. It's on my screen. We're done. It works. You can click on the button. It loads the app. Takes a second to load up. And there you go. I can scroll through the programs. I can click on one and read all about the program, etc. Right? So that's basically it. Now, what happens if you go back and edit the original sheet, or if we add to it, right? It will automatically update our app. Make sense? All right, so I don't know anything about Daphne King. She happens to be on video today, but what other languages do people speak? That's my question. What are the languages?
French, Spanish.
Bonjour, hola. Galkoshe, what language do you speak?
Hindi.
Hindi, perfect. All right, so here's the tricky part, and this is the cool thing. We're in a Google Sheet, so we could apply Google formulas to all the data and then copy them into the app, right? So let's go over here. We'll make a multilingual app, right? I'm going to right-click, insert a column to the left, and we're going to write about in Hindi, right? And then I'm going to add another column to the left, and we're going to say about in French. Okay, and then we'll make an app. We could even make apps that have, you could choose which language you want. It will translate everything, but I'm trying to keep it simple. All right, so the first thing we have to do is what is the Hindi language code, right, in Google Translate. So it's an easy Google search to find out. So we're going to write Google Translate Hindi code. And if we look it up, it's going to say Google Translate 2-letter language codes, right? And we're going to go find Hindi. And it says that Hindi is HI. Every language has a 2-letter code. Okay. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to say Hindi equals Google Translate. I want to translate this cell, E2, which is currently in English, EN, to Hindi, HI. You with me? So Google Translate, the cell it's coming from English to Hindi. I press enter. I don't speak Hindi, so you have to tell me if that worked.
Yes, it's working. And
It's working.
could you please explain this formula again? What does the EN
We're going to do it. EN is English. So let me just copy the formula down so it fills out Hindi everywhere, and we'll do French next in 1 second. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to type in equals Google Translate. We're going to do the cell that the data comes from. In this case, it's E2, comma, the language we're bringing it from is EN. The language we're translating to is FR, which is French. Right? I press enter. And then we're going to take this. Again, I don't speak French, so you have to tell me if that's correct or not.
Yeah,
And
looks
then
good.
it copies down. We'll give it a second. And
Ta-da!
ta-da! All right, we'll just try one more since I'm curious. Let's do Vietnamese, which is VI. So we'll go here, right click. We're going to insert one to the left, right? Is it ESE or EESE? I think that's right.
Yeah, 1E, I think.
I did one E, yeah. Google Translate. We'll grab about. I'm going to press comma, EN to VI. And of course, it's using terrible Google Translate, which may not make sense. But even using different characters like Hindi, French, or Vietnamese, it will still work, right? We could do Russian, we could do Spanish, we could do anything you think of. Okay, so we'll give it a second. We'll just make sure that they all loaded properly. Now we have a problem in the app. And by the way, if you have the app on your phone, if you just download it, you'll notice that their languages aren't in there yet. We have to go back to our app, and it's going to say, 1 second, new columns found. We found new columns in your sheet. Do you want to automatically add components for them? I'm going to press yes. We're going to go into Business Analytics, and now you'll notice that it put column 6 down here at the bottom, contact email. And I'm going to press yes, add new columns. We have contact email, about in Hindi, about in Vietnamese, right? So I'm going to click on about in Hindi, and I'm going to change this to okay, so it's going to say about in Hindi, about in Vietnamese. I'm going to take these and move them up to about, like this. And now we're also missing about in French, and this is action text. So we'll press plus. We're going to find action text. And we're going to say this action text down here, we're going to switch it to about in French. And then we'll take this and we'll move it up here. Now, if there's a lot of text, maybe it's too much, you can click on here and you can press trim for lines, and then you can press more to see the rest of it. Right, so we'll do that for all of them. Meaning that with the same amount of space, we now have 4 languages going on. And if we go back from Business Analytics to Cybersecurity, it's going to have the same thing in there as well. I'm just going to give it a quick refresh to make sure we're on the same page. And if you look at your app, if you have the app open, just close it and go back to the main page, like back to your desktop, and then open it again. And if you go into one of them, it should reload from the internet, and you'll see multi-language. So now I have like Hindi, French, and Vietnamese inside the app. Pretty cool.
Yep.
So basically, here's the takeaway. I'm going to send you a big email with many other examples that you could look at. We did this in less than an hour, and we put together an app that you could really easily build, gather some data, put it together. You could also connect these apps to a whole bunch of different types of data sources and make different things happen. So you could do some really cool apps really easily, which people could just start using, right? This app has a lot of information, but not a lot of interactivity. And I'll show you how to do some of that. If you go to the main page where all the apps are, and you go all the way down to the bottom, there's a whole bunch of templates, like in here. And if you press view all, it will show you templates about setting up an employee directory, a mobile store, a conference, a mobile restaurant, a personal budget tracker, an inventory, and they'll show you the sheet of how they made it happen. We're going to go to the one called Tip Calculator, which is a good example.
Gone past it.
Here we go. Tip Calculator. Okay. So I already have it open in my Glide, and I will show it to you here. So basically, I went in, I copied the program, and if you type in a number on top, so I'm going to type in, let's say, 75, and I want to give a 15% tip, it tells me the total and the tip. Simple app. How does it work? If I click over here, it has two sheets, home and options. Options shows you, this is a separate sheet, shows you the percentages that you could put in there. Home tells you subtotal, it's a calculated field, tip, custom calculated, resolved, this is the sum, total display, calculated in total. It adds special columns using this that figure things out. Basically, you're just doing formulas, but inside of Glide, right? This field plus this field equals this field. But when you display it in the app, it actually does the calculation. Now, you can copy this and copy the sheet that it's based on into your account and then play around with it, change it, make it better, add more features, and then you have those features inside your app. You could use, I'll show you some other ones that I've done. Like, for example, this is a map one, places to visit in Edinburgh. The reason why it's a map is because it has locations. The locations here are a castle and Meltmongers, which is a grilled cheese restaurant, the address and pictures. And then you just go into here. And by the way, you could preview it in Android or in iOS. And if you click on it, it will tell you information about it, shows you a picture of the grilled cheese, shows you the address. And if you're in Edinburgh and you press this button, it will show you where you are on the map in relation to those and use GPS to help you get there. And literally 2 lines of code, like just easy to make it work. If we go back here, there's ones like, I built this one called Superhero App. I downloaded a list of all the superheroes on Kaggle, and I put it in here, and it has like 500 superheroes. Even this is still, like if I click on Wolverine, it tells me all about Wolverine. I could add pictures and do other stuff, but I haven't got around to it yet. And then I could build interactivity into this as well. And there's just like a million different ones that do multilingual, that do ideas, this is one about a TV show. This is from The Martian, the movie. And it tells you people about who are on the show. You could even do really cool ones like build your own Instagram. You could build an app all about information on California parks. This has some cool features. Like if you go into the item, you can slide between pictures back and forth like this. And the way they do this is by putting 4 image columns, and we only used 1, and then connecting them together into a gallery. So you're basically able to, in each data object, there's 4 pictures inside of it. And many other examples. I'm going to send you a whole bunch that you could take a look at. That's all the talking I have to do. That was a lot of talking. I'm going to send you a copy of the app. I'm going to send you the sheet that we made. You could just go to File, create a copy if you want to copy it so you can make your own and play around with it. You could also fork any of the other examples that I'm sending you so you can make your own copies of those. Then you could experiment with them, which has literally everything you could possibly imagine. And you could look through the templates, which have things like bike rental and CRM and leasing and restaurants and reservations and any idea you could possibly have. Somebody's done the code for it. You could fork it and then use that as the starting point for your program to make your sheet fit together. And like I said, we did this in less than an hour. We made something that actually works and you could use. In other words, you could sell it to somebody. If you paid the $10 a month to make it a paid product, you could remove all their Glide branding and call it Daphne King Design Company, and people would buy it for big money, right? So I think it's really easy to get started, and it's a great prototype when you're trying to convince a client to buy a product or to show them what it looks like, or before they go to Flutter and spend $10,000 building a specific code set. This actually works in a lot of cases. In fact, this will work with e-commerce. This will work with chat and a bunch of other features. So like if I go into the program and I click on the chat at the bottom, if I press plus, I'm going to say, what is your name? I'll put in Sydney. And then it says, what's your email address? I'll put in my email address. And then it says, we just sent you an email to authenticate your email address. So let me go in there. We'll give it a second. Okay, so I just got an email from Cambrian Grad Cert Certificate, and it says my PIN number is 90039. Don't tell anybody your PIN. My bad. And then I'm going to write a message. I'll write, hey, I'll press send. And then if we go back to the app, let me just open it up. So you could see that I posted here, and we could chat back and forth. Where did this save? If you go to the spreadsheet and you look at here, we can go to app comments. It was created automatically. And it says me, my email address, what time, and what my comment was. And each one gets a unique ID address so you can find them. But bottom line is, it's really easy to do. And it's something that adds a lot of value to the services that you're able to offer people, right? You could create a front-end application that feeds on the data that you're analyzing or that you're processing somewhere else and gets it into the app and makes something happen. Like you could easily plug in JSON to this. You could easily plug in a CSV file or a spreadsheet or something else. That's the result of another process that you're running. So for example, analyze the weather. You look at the weather on the app. It's grabbing the weather from an API. It's getting processed and then ultimately sent to the app and constantly updated in real time. And it's free and takes 10 seconds to put together, right? That's it. It was nice to see you. I hope you had a very long and fantastic week. I just got a message back from Allison Caruso. She's the head of marketing for the college. I sent her the app and she says, this is the most amazing app I've ever seen. Right? How much would it cost if they had to hire somebody to do it? A lot of money. Kokoshe, what do you say?
In last class, we saw how to develop website. But I guess developing an application is much easier than website.
No, because listen, if you took this and you had to make it like an iPhone app that uses a feature only on iPhones, like for example, the app is good. And Daphne goes, how did you like the app? And I'm like, oh, it's great. There's only one thing I want. I also want it to count steps. Counting steps is really hard because it uses a specific piece of Apple hardware on the phone that is only available to the Apple iOS API. You can't put it out through the web. So then Daphne's like, well, that's going to cost me $10,000 more to put together. And you have to use Flutter or Kotlin or Swift to develop a program that accesses that feature and puts it in, meaning it's going to take 4 months to develop. It's going to cost a lot of money and be really hard. And look, we built an app in an hour. Maybe not using that feature is a good idea in exchange, right? Maybe that makes sense. Maybe that's the whole app. So it's important to have. That's the decision. That's a discussion you have to have with your client. But as far as how easy it is, this is easy, but it only goes so far. It doesn't do everything. It does some things. Do you have to know how to program in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Yes, because you're going to have to scrape data from the web to gather new data sources and then do things with it. You'll learn about that in second semester and third semester.
Looking forward for it.
There you go. So listen.
Now I'm very much excited.
It's not like one thing is easier than the other. It's like there's different use cases for different things. Like I told you at the beginning, it's like you're a plumber and you have a toolbox and each tool does a different job. So you need many, many tools to solve many different problems. Some of them make more sense than others, depending on the circumstance, right? So that's all I wanted to tell you. So next week, we're going to talk to a panel of students who graduated from the program from all three streams. And we'll basically see what they're up to now, how they got a job, how they navigated, finishing their program and what they use and so on. Idris, yes, the app is secure and nobody else can manipulate or change the app. It is possible to make an app that's open if you want other people to fork it and to make copies, just like when you're coding in Python. It depends what the point is. In this case, I just want it to be for information only, learn about programs at the college, right? I want to give it like a nice name that says like CambrianGradApps.com. You go into that thing, it shows you the app. You can put it on your phone, that's it. So in this case, it's all very limited and protected. If I want, I could enable that you can copy the sheet behind it and make your own copy. I'm going to send you the sheet anyway, so you can take a look. I'll also send you instructions on how to cover everything that we did today. And this will help you build your own apps with your own idea. It doesn't, I'm going to send you 100 other apps to take a look at too, about cookies and lizards and space and you name it. The point is not to teach you how to make an app about Cambrian. The point is that you have ideas of how to take this and build multilingual apps for any idea that you have. That's the whole point, right? So, like I usually say every single session, this is worth money to somebody, and you could benefit somebody by knowing how to do this. If you could figure out who that person is and what you could do for them, you know now how to do something that's worth money to somebody, and you could build something that they could actually use in their business. That's worth money to them. That's worth money to their customers. That's the whole point, right? That's it. Anyways, nice to see you. If you have any problems about anything, any questions about anything at all that I can help you with, please send me an email. I'm happy to help. I hope the weekend goes okay. Please go outside and don't do homework constantly. That's not really the point. And take a break. At least in my class, I'm teaching ANA 1003. The homework should take 10 minutes, maybe 20. Not very much. Sometimes I say 5 minutes and then Ray gets upset, but this is actually like a 10 or 20 minute homework. It's not complicated. So it's easy to do. You should be fine. Python homework, I don't know. That could be complicated. All right. Nice to see you. Next week, we'll be back for another panel. And have a great weekend.
See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.